All right, so I want to take you all somewhere real quick. This is in light of the attack that happened in New Orleans. It was a terrorist attack. A lot of people were injured. A lot of people were killed. Um, so let's talk about this. When you're out and about, you need to make sure you are prepared to handle any situation that may occur. Um, I've been infamous for like handling this situation my way, as far as like being prepared for a terrorist invasion from it could be a police stop, it could be um, uh, a crowd incident where people are running everywhere, trampling each other. Um, it could be gang stalking. It could be piracy. It could be anything, and you have to be prepared. All right, so let's talk about this. One thing that I would say for people who are, always out, make sure you have a book bag, like, something like this, right? With your insignia on it to let people know that you are a veteran, that you've worked at, certain organizations. Let people know these things. Um, you're going to need a first aid kit. You're going to need bandages. You're going to need a iPhone so it can pick up on the radio networks that are nearby, just in case someone happens to think they're going to get away with a crime. Um, I don't say carry guns. I don't say carry sharp equipment like anything outside of like a tweezer, maybe a pen, or maybe like a switch knife or something like that, something that'll cut open some plastic, something like that. I don't say carry anything that can harm another human. Okay, I don't promote that. I keep stuff like this right here at home. You know what I mean? I keep my tools in my tool shed. Um, Another thing, right? You need a compass. You know what I mean? Because like your battery in your phone, you need to make sure it's fully charged before you leave the house. But again, it's the radio tower could be invaded, and like they can shut down your network very quickly, your data. They can hijack your data very quickly. Okay, so you want to make sure you have a compass. Another thing, and most importantly, I have to talk about this for people who go between cities and villages and states. Make sure you have MREs. That's something that we had in the military. We had MREs. MREs are very good as far as like heating up. They heat up on their own. You can get any food you want. You can buy them in bulk. Make sure you have an MRE on you. Me personally, I just like to carry curry packages. That could be like some Jamaican peas. I like to carry them on my book bag. That's just me. They're already ready. All I have to do is just open them up. I don't have to warm them up. I can just eat them. Um, you want to make sure that you also have, and I mentioned this, you want to make sure you have cotton gauges and cotton balls. You want to make sure you have bandages, just in case someone happens to attack you, and you need to quickly cover up your wounds to stop the bleeding. You want to make sure that you have that in place. You want to make sure you have your sand dish, your laptop. You want to make sure you have all of this stuff on your person. If you're going to the airport, you want to make sure you have these things. You want to also make sure that you live by an airport. You don't want to necessarily use the roads all the time. Like me, I try to go months without leaving my home, without leaving my property. I try to do that. I try to do everything on Zoom if I have to make a meeting or something like that, business meeting, because again, I have people that's employed. I have a strong network of people that's employed, and most of my people who I network with are on LinkedIn. So if you have a LinkedIn, um, you want to make sure you have a network on there as well, and you want to make sure that you have people employed. So another thing that I would say have on you is make sure you have a passport on your person. You want to make sure you have a passport. You want to make sure you have a passport. You want to also make sure you have a national designation of a flag. You want to make sure you have a national flag on your person because you may take a taxi. This is something that I always used to do. I used to take taxis everywhere I went. Make sure you have a taxi, a flag on your person when you're in a taxi. So if something happens in the taxi where the driver feels like this person wants to act rudely, you want to wave your flag out the window while you're in the passenger seat of the back of the car. You want to make sure you wave your flag out the window so you can signal help. And again, you want to make sure your SOS is functioning well on your phone. You want to be able to swipe for emergency. You don't always want to talk because when you talk on the phone, you tip people off that you're not focused on what's going on in your surroundings. So that's another thing that I want to talk about. Um, for those who like to drive, I would say don't drive in a normal car. Drive in a car that that can hold a lot of equipment. Maybe a RV, maybe a pickup. Those are the things you want to drive in. You don't want to drive in a mode of conveyance that says you're just riding around town for joyriding. You don't want to do that. You want like a pickup truck, an SUV, an RV, mainly an RV. That's what you want. You want an RV. And this is how you want to get around town. You see what I'm saying? Um, those are the things you want to do. So you have that going on. You need a flashlight. You need to make sure that you have a watch on you. Make sure you have your watch. Um, Make sure that you have a rope too. Make sure you have a rope on your person. You know, make sure you're wearing these things so that if something happens, you can prevent certain situations from occurring. You see what I'm saying? You need a SanDisk. You want to make sure you have a SanDisk. Um, so a lot of these things, like you see here in the frame, the photo, you want to make sure you have. You always want to make sure you have a water bottle or a cup that holds water. You want to make sure you have all of that because you can be poisoned. You want to make sure you can flush out your kidneys as fast as possible. Um, I would say always tip the if you live in a village, always tip the president off that you're free to move throughout the village. Always tip your president off. Always tip the president off that you're about to move in the village, so he can know who's coming and who's going. Um, that doesn't mean you have to call him, but type in your network so you can let him know so he can get the message later, or if something happens, he can get the messages after the fact. Um, those are the things you want to do. Those are the things you want to do. You want to make sure you have a pen on you, of course. You always want to be able to write. Make sure you have a book. Have a language book. Don't just have any book. Have a language book so you can be able to translate what a person is saying because you don't want to speak the same language to a person who doesn't live in your community. Have a canteen. Here's a canteen right here. Have it. This is where you want to have your liquids. So have all these things. Make sure that you have them. Emergency first aid kit that goes without saying. Have a string that that expands to where you can catch fish if you have to eat. Don't bring a rod. That's too much. Just if you're in a pickup truck, you'll have your rod in there. But bring a string that can catch fish. Um, these things are important. Great peace. Yakoki. Oh yeah, make sure that you have gloves too. Leather gloves. I always carry gloves.